If you guys are brand new to my channel, hi, my name is Kaylee. I am an online reseller and I make a living flipping things from thrift stores on sites like eBay and Poshmark. When I first started flipping things for profit, it just was a hobby and it turned into a full-time job that now pays my bills and then some. I never thought when it was just a side hustle that it was going to turn into all of this. And so if you clicked on this video because you'd like to start your online side hustle, then this video is for you. In today's video, I am going to be doing a breakdown of the numbers and talking about how you can make Poshmark a profitable side hustle. I'm not sure what your goals are, but today we're going to be talking about making $500, $2,000, or possibly even $4,000 more per month to add to your income. And if this all sounds impossible, I promise you it is not. All of us resellers started from somewhere. I started by just listing 1 or 2 items a week. Today, I'm going to break down those numbers for you in both of those categories, 500, 2,000, and 4,000. And we're going to look at just how much it would take in order to achieve those numbers. Now, in case you are brand new to reselling, the idea of it is that you are buying things at a super low cost. You can find them at places like garage sales, thrift stores, or even just lying around your house. And you can take those items and list them for sale on a platform like Poshmark and sell them for more money. And that is the whole basis of reselling. Flipping an item for more than what you paid for. Now it can sound so easy to take an item and let's say pay $5 and sell it for $10, but are you really actually making money? After you take into account things like platform fees, how much it might cost to ship the items, and any other costs associated with the sale, you are actually left with a much smaller amount than you might think. And so that's why today we are going to break down the numbers so that you can feel confident in making this your side hustle. Now, I sell on many different platforms, but I specifically wanted to focus on Poshmark today because Poshmark, out of all of the platforms that I sell on, is the easiest to flip items, it's the easiest to list on, and it is the easiest to ship on. So the first part of the reselling process is we have to find stuff for super cheap at places like thrift stores. I personally specialize in flipping clothing, shoes, and accessories. So if you want to learn what kind of things you can flip in those categories, then make sure to subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos where I tell you things to be on the lookout for. And you can even go thrifting with me and I can talk about the process behind why I pick out some of the items that I do. But in general, you are going to want to find a way to actually source items, which means going out and getting items if you're not actually flipping things from your own house. I started by just going to thrift stores, and a way to make sure that things that you're getting at thrift stores are cheap are to focus on sale days. So look for half off colors. Make sure you're getting items for as cheap as possible while you are learning and probably going to make some mistakes. And if you're really lucky, you might have opportunities available to you at things like garage sales, maybe fill-a-bag sales, or if you have a Goodwill outlet, also known as the Goodwill bins near you, that would be a really great place to find things to flip. Because at the Goodwill outlet and at the Goodwill bins, you can pay by the pound. So more often than not, your cost of goods, meaning how much you're paying for those items to flip, is going to be somewhere between $1 and $2, and that's a very low cost of good. In these numbers today, I am going to assume that you are able to procure items, you're able to source items to flip for about the $2 range. Once you're able to find those items, you've done a little bit of research and you feel confident on picking up those items. Again, watch some other videos if you want to learn what to pick up. But once you've picked up those items and you feel confident flipping them, now we can get to the listing process and actually setting them active on Poshmark. Poshmark is a very simple listing site. You basically just hit sell now, type in all your details, add some photos, and then tell it how much you want to list it for. You'll want to keep in mind that whatever you price it at, your buyers can actually send you offers, which you can also accept, decline, or counter. But you might want to keep that in mind as you are pricing items. Again, I have a slew of videos on that. Let's say you've done a little bit of research and you feel really good about what to pick up. And let's say you're now able to source things for about $2, and on the lower end, you are able to flip them for $25, which, by the way, is a very reasonable amount and something you could expect to sell an item for. Once the items sell, you just put put the item in some of the free USPS shipping supplies and ship it off to your buyer. And the great thing about Poshmark is that shipping is paid for by your buyer, and you don't even necessarily need to print a label because you can show a QR code at the post office and have them print that label for you. So you've got a really low cost of goods, you're planning on flipping things for $25, you've got free shipping supplies that you can put the items in, and you don't even have to buy a label or a printer if you don't want to. It is a win-win situation, and that's why I recommend it to beginners. So with all of that in mind, let's take a look at some of the numbers if you're able to achieve these things and how much you could actually make in a month and add to your income. Selling on Poshmark can be an amazing side hustle. So I've got some calculations here on my spreadsheet. I'm going to pop them up here on the screen. But if you were able to find things at a lower cost of goods like $2, which again is very likely if you focus on sourcing in places like I have already talked about. So $2 per item, and let's say on average you're able to sell those items for about $25. Poshmark fees are 20%, meaning whatever the amount of your sale is, they're going to take 20% of that. And by the way, having a selling fee is normal on many different platforms. So no matter what platform you choose, it's likely you're going to have some kind of cost associated with the sale. In this case, with Poshmark taking out a 20% fee, you paying $2 and flipping it for $25, you should net a profit of around $18. So for every item that you sell under these circumstances, you are going to make $18. Again, that's before taxes or any other expenses you might have, but you get the point. Now that we know that you can profit around $18 on average for these items under these circumstances, let's take a look at the models in which we'd be able to achieve $500 extra a month, $2,000 extra a month, and $4,000 extra per month. It's actually not as much as you would think in order to achieve $500 per month. And I don't know about you, but an extra $500 a month is like a car payment for me. So it's a pretty big deal. It is nothing to sneeze at. In order to make $500, we would need to divide that by our average net profit per piece. Again, this is under the circumstance that we're picking up items for about $2 and able to flip them for around $25. And you may be able to get your average flip price for way more than that, but on the lower end, we're gonna say $25. So in this case, we are taking $500 and we are dividing it by $18. That is going to give us an item that we need to sell per month in order to achieve that of 28 items per month. If we divide that by 4, it's going to give us 7 per week. Working these equation backwards from your goal to what you actually need to do is really a great way to break down all of the tasks and how to accomplish things and take really small bites. Because when you hear 28 items, it sounds like a lot, but when you divide that by how many per week, now we're at 7. And then if we even divided that per day, that's only 1 item per day that you would need to sell in order to achieve your goal of $500 per month. Now, the likelihood of you actually selling the exact amount of items that you list within the same month is pretty low. Things can take some time to sell. And so that's why I recommend doubling or sometimes even quadrupling whatever your goal is per the amount you need to list. So let's go ahead and quadruple this goal. If our goal is to make 500, let's do the numbers to break down what it would take to make 2,000, which is 4 times more than your goal, so that we are way more likely to achieve that $500. So in order to make $2,000 per month, we would need to sell 111 items per month. That would be 28 items per week or 4 items per day. And by the way, if you can't list an item every single day, let's say that you work a full-time job and so you can only work 2 days a week. What you can do is take the amount that you need to do per week and divide it by 2 and just make sure to get all of them done within the 2 days that you're available to work. For the $2,000 goal, that would leave us needing to sell 111 items per month, 28 items per week, or 4 items per day if we were working 7 days a week. But again, we really only came up with this $2,000 goal in order to achieve our $500 goal, assuming that about 25% of what we list is going to sell, which by the way is very realistic. I like to always aim higher to ensure that I'm going to meet my goal. And then more often than not, I'm pleasantly surprised because I actually exceed my original goal. And so let's look at one more model. Let's say what you wanted to do was achieve $2,000 per month. So we're going to raise the bar to $4,000. You can see how this can keep going higher and higher depending on how far you want to stretch that goal. This goal might be really good for some of you part-time resellers who are watching and are maybe not at that $4,000 a month goal yet. And just to take a look at these numbers and go, okay, am I actually where I need to be in order to achieve this? So for $4,000 extra a month, again, under the circumstance that we're buying for $2 and flipping for $25 and selling these items on Poshmark for an average net profit of $18, we would need to sell 200 items per month or 56 items per week. Or if we are going to break it down per day and we're working 7 days a week, it would just be 8 per day. And you can see how breaking these goals down is taking it in small chunks and seems much, much more manageable. So let's say you are aiming for that $4,000 line just because you want to ensure that you're making somewhere between $5,000 and $2,000. We again are doubling our goal to make sure that we are meeting where we want to be. And let's say we do want to go ahead and list 8 items per day. How long does it actually take to list 8 items per day? When you first get started, it definitely is going to seem like it takes forever to list items. But the more that you do it, the more confident you'll be and the faster you will get. When I first started listing, it took me an hour to list just one item, which was way too long. And now on Poshmark, I can get an item listed in about 5 minutes. So 8 times 5 is 40. That's about 40 minutes. Can I take 40 minutes out of my day to list an item on Poshmark? Is working for your side hustle for 40 minutes per day worth the potential hundreds to thousands that you might make that month? I think the answer is yes. The small amount of input that you can put into reselling can have a ginormous return and give you a really amazing output. And that is why I love reselling, particularly on Poshmark, because it is such a super simple platform. Now, again, all of these numbers are just goal numbers. There's lots of things that happen in between. If this is a brand new world to you in reselling, I'd highly recommend checking out some of my other videos and other content creator videos here on YouTube, just to learn more about Poshmark, about how to research items, what items you should pick up, how you should price them. And you can really narrow in on what's working well so that you can reach your goals faster. But just to get started and just to know how much it actually takes, that is a breakdown of those numbers and potential goals. And if you're currently somewhere in the middle of these goals and you're trying to grow your side hustle, take a look at your own numbers and see if you're actually listing enough according to your own profit margins in order to achieve the goals that you want to. All right, you guys, I hope this video was helpful. I hope that it inspired some of you to go out there and start your Poshmark side hustle. Like I said, I've got tons of other videos. Consider subscribing to the channel. You can hit all and be notified every single time I post content. I share tons of things like what to look for, how to price them, and how to sell on a site like Poshmark. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.